So welcome back. In today's video, we are going to continue our journey with constructors. In today's video, we're going to look at other types of constructors. Mainly in Java, we have two types of constructors. We have the default constructors and the parameterized constructors. So in the previous video, we saw one whereby we saw the one called the default constructor. This one simply is used to give default values to our object. Here we are having name. Here in our variables, we are having name and age. Now when we come here and create our constructor, simply this is called the default constructor. Why is it called the default constructor? It's mainly because with this way of writing the constructor, we are giving default values to our variables. That's why it's called default constructor. So when I come and comment out this, so each and every time this object is mounted, or each and every time this object is being created, the default constructors, I don't need to create new values in the object. Automatically, if you don't have the values in your object, this constructor will run and they will give you the default constructors that you have assigned here. Now you see that name is being assigned as Jen and age is being assigned as 18, meaning these are the default constructors. You can write it here. These are the default constructors. So that's how we write the default constructors. The second constructor is called the parameterized constructors. Simply this, what if you don't want to assign the default values here? What if you want your values to be dynamic, or you want to pass your values as parameters? What would you do? There we introduce our second type of a constructor called the parameterized constructors. Simply the word parameterized is got from a singular word called parameter. Yeah, so you can here you can create another object of human. This one is going to be specifically for the parameterized constructor. So I'll say obj1 is equal to new human, the instance. So I'll call this and terminate. So this obj, the parameterized constructor, you simply have to send here your parameters to your constructor app. So I want you to first create the age, which is 18, comma, and the name called Alice, something like this. And when you hover, they are saying the constructor human is undefined. So I'll come here and I create the human constructor down here, public human, which is a constructor. Yeah, something like this. So they are saying duplicated human. So what I can first do, let me first comment out this. Yeah, so you see that here my constructor is expecting an integer value and a string value. So I'll say the first one here up int, which is let me say it is age, comma, and string, which is name, something like this. So now I can use my two arguments or my two parameters that I have entered or that I have passed into my what, into my even this one I comment out. I can comment out this. Even this one I can comment it out. So now I can use this obj1 to output the name. Sorry, to output this object, output the name, and output the age. So I will receive the age. I'm passing here age inside my parameter, inside my constructor, and I'm also passing the name inside my constructor. So up here, I'll receive the age and the name as my parameters, the ones that I passed down here, these two, I'll receive them here up as my parameters. So I will say here up, I'm having age, which is equal to age, something like this. I will say name, which is equal to name, something like this. They are saying that age, you are trying to reassign the instance variable again to the instance variable itself. Simply here, I can use this keyword. I already have the video explaining this keyword. You can go and check it out if you find this more challenging. Even the same thing for the name, I'll do it, this keyword. So I have assigned my two variables inside my human object, the default values of age and name. But remember, age and name are simply parameters that I sent or that I set down here in my object. So when I try and compile this, you see that already Alice and 18 are being set as I expect. So that's simply the parameterized constructor. Simply you send parameters or you assign parameters inside your constructor, then you use the parameters that you have assigned to set default values for your variables of your object. So that's simply how. So this one is called the default. This one is called the parameterized constructor. To explain a bit more further, the parameterized constructor is simply called parameterized constructor simply because it uses a concept of parameters. You pass parameters inside your constructor, then you can use the parameters that you have passed to set your default values. And for the default constructors, you simply set them like this. I can comment that this. You simply set them by default. You just assign them values. No need to pass parameters inside here. So that's simply what we refer as the parameterized constructors and the default constructors. Thank you for today.